Okay, and we're live. Welcome to this week's episode of Safer Than Your Average, and this week it's going to be an absolute cracker. We've got Eddie Woods, co-owner of a company called Karrdale. If you just want to introduce yourself, Eddie.
Hi, how's it going, everyone? My name's Eddie, and as Blair said, I'm with a company called Karrdale. And what our mission is for the past few years, it's all about us inspiring safe communities in the workplace and try to get people working well together. That's what it's all about for us. And we just get into companies and help with communication strategy. So that's the Karrdale side of it. But I know you want to meet the on here, Blair, so we can do a wee bit of nosy marker of where I've been doing that and stuff. So let's go back. Do you want to start when I was a kid then? Aye.
Yep, definitely. That's the format of the podcast, Eddie. We'll start right back as you were a kid.
So there's me, I've got two older sisters, so I was the youngest. So obviously, being the only boy, I was a pure mammy's boy, right? So if you ever meet me in work, my family name is, everybody knows me as my Eddie, because everywhere I go, that's all you hear my mother saying, there's my Eddie, oh, the my Eddie can. So that's the family joke. So if you meet me at a seminar, just shout out, you want to wind me up. I hate it. We were initially, as a kid, I was brought up in a place called Kilmarnock Road in Brighton, and my dad had a butcher shop there. It was between two old streets, Ruby Street and Karrdale Street, I think it was between, across from the old gasworks. So I spent quite a lot. Up there, I was about 8 years of age. Went to school there. That's where I started. And one of the things that scars me about that, and I don't know if this is why I ended up with safety, but I remember my sister getting up in a double-decker bus in the Zebra crossing, and that really sticks in my head, that whole thing. You know, and I think it was only, I must have been at home when that happened. But the other thing about Kilmarnock Road as well was it was a really, really busy place. And we just stayed in this wee pokey flat, and it had an outside toilet, and we had to share that with 4 other families, and there was no lock in the door. So like, you had to get in with your fitting out at night as a Wayne, sorry, as a kid, for anybody that's not Scottish watching, but as night as a kid, you know, it was terrifying being out there, you know what I mean? There was no long toilets, and you were just in and do your business. And I remember once the story my uncle told me, I don't know if it was true, but he told me he was in there one night and he was having a sit down. Because it was no lock on the door, the lassie next door opened the door to come down, he was sitting in the toilet. She said, oh, I'm very sorry. Or he says, oh, I'm very sorry. And she says, oh, I don't mind. He says, do you want me to move out a bit? But it was a dingy place with back middens out there, mud pies, bloody old-fashioned Glasgow stuff. And then we moved to a place, there was a back and front garden. So it was the first thing that was in a place, don't know if you know a place called Greenfield, which is in the east end of Glasgow.
Yeah.
I can see you nodding there, it's like that. And that's where I spent most of my time. As a kid, what I was known for was stripping down presents that people got me. Like my mum would buy me a radio, and I would want to strip it all down, figure out how it worked, and then put it back together again. And I'm still like that a bit with things. So like, forget something, I've got to open it up. How's all that work? So I was brought up in a typical Glasgow tenement, you know, bins and stuff out, like midges out the back, and just a classic old scene, you know. It wasn't a very nice looking place, you know. And anyway, I was dead thin as a kid, and my mum got me, she had a pal, his name was Joe Aitchison, and he was a professional boxer, and he had a boxing club. So for a young age, I was in the boxing ring down there, which I can still smell that. See the smell of the place, and every time I get in here, a place you smell it, you know what it's like. It just takes you straight all the way back
Yep,
to your childhood.
totally, totally. I can remember it myself as a kid going to the boxing club, and you can smell smell it still, definitely.
Aye. Did you sit? I used to see watching the main box with my chin on the mat, and it'd be bouncing up it. Oh, I loved it in there. I loved it. So anyway, then we moved. We moved to a place called Greenfield, which is in the east end of Glasgow, and that's when I was there too. I was about 17, so like, I'd went to school through there. At the time when I stayed there, there was a lot of problems at the time with heroin in that area, you know, and it was something I'd never ventured into myself. I was more like into music than anything like that, you know. Was always wanted to like go to see. But I mean, I learned from a young age that I could use music to control my mood, you know. And like, even now as an adult, anytime I've got the blues, the first thing I know, like when I do the training, we talk about self-talk and positive thinking. But for me, I've got certain music and certain songs that I listen to with certain things connected to it, and that gets my head in a different place. I've always utilised that for some reason. So there was a lot going on there at the time. I was heavily into football. One of my uncles, he worked in the pharmacy department at the Victoria Infirmary in Glasgow, and he never married or anything like that. He had a really bad stammer, and it was actually him that got me mostly into what I'm into. Um, and he started like local football teams. So that was another thing I was doing. I was playing football, and I got trialled at London Road for Celtic Boys Club for 3 months when I was 14. Uh, but I couldn't handle it. They seen into the like dressing room. I mean, they were all at Man Mountain. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there was guys at 14. They were that hairy. They looked like Chewbacca. You know, I'm looking at them going, "There's no way he's 14." But it was just at that level. I don't think I liked the amount of contact. And then I came out and I played. I went up and played at Postal YM for a wee while.
Yeah.
And then I went, and then where else? I was playing at Greenfield Boys Club. So football, music, and sport was my thing. So I sort of managed to keep away for that unfortunate side that our community was suffering at that time. And I did lose. I've got a list of guys I went to school with that unfortunately lost their lives through either using that or being involved in the trade of that. You know, so when I was always saying this is, I don't want to spend the rest of my life here, although in that side of the city. I mean, I still love going over there. My mum's over there, and one of my sisters over there, and the people over there are amazing. But it was just the environment at that time, and I was starting to think ahead about what was going to do with my life. I was also thinking, and I'm not being mean to be rude here, but I was thinking, I don't want to repeat this. I don't want to bring my own kids up and have to be injected, and maybe bad word to use there, but injected into that environment. So my ambition was to get myself out of there, and that's what I did. That's what I did. Initially, I went down to London. So I'd finished school, wanted to take some time out. I knew I was going to have to refill my boots if I was going to make a career. One of my uncles, he's a pal that worked up in Aberdeen, the oil and gas industry, and he used to come and tell all these stories, you know, and it was like a great adventure. And I made my mind up pretty early on that I wanted to go there. And even when I was on my journey to getting there, even when the Piper Alpha happened, that was not enough to put that. Because it was a few months after that I was starting to get ready to manoeuvre to get there. So that never really put me off either. But it was sad when I got out there. You know, there was a lot of memorial stuff going on at the time as well, and then and I was in the oil and gas industry when obviously just after it had happened, but then there was a break, there was a sort of a window. And I'll be honest with you, the companies I was working with at the time, I was working in the BP environment at the time, and even before the Cullen report came out, they were trying to do all they could to put things right, but I still think there was had to be guidance. So when the Cullen report came out, that's when I started getting vocal about safety, because what I was finding was, see, you've done it yourself, right? You've sat in tea huts with people. These are real people. They're like, these are family people, right? And you know, they're out there, right? And they're braving everything, right? They're terrified sitting in each other. They're sitting in a firework in the middle of the ocean if something goes wrong. I mean, who would choose to do that, right? So these are, for me, I see people that go to work, right? I mean, even like some of the clients I'm working with and the things that their staff do, these people are true heroes for their families. And that's what I always try to keep in mind. And that's when I decided, right, I'm putting my hand up here, and I'm going to be part of a change process. And I wanted to have, it was a bit like, after about a couple of years into that, I wanted a revolution to happen. And that's what it was. And I wanted to, because I found that there was a lot of bridges broken, right? And what I'm talking about is bridges between supervisors and employees, managers and supervisors, and the managers and the corporate teams. And there was all these simple little bridges that could make things better. And that's what I wanted to explore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what took me off on the journey. So initially, stuck my name down. I became, the Cullen report asked for us to have safety reps out there, which 971 rep probably, I think he's called them. So stuck my horn up for that. Did all, put me through all the safety training, that everything I wanted, all the way. Although I forget most there, but they took me all the way up to obviously the coach assessments and all sorts of things. Auditor, I was auditing and all sorts. But I was trying to, when I was going to their audit, I was trying to do it with a different approach. And because I knew these guys were out there for the families, right? Every time I approached people, that's what I always focus on. Is what were the people there for? And then what happened was the BP machine started introducing me to behaviouralists, psychologists, and all that sort of stuff. But prior to that, I took an interest in it as well. I mean, there's a book out there, if you want to get into this stuff, the first book that got me going, there's a subject in there, it's an old subject, and it's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And it's a guy wrote a book, a guy called, it's got a funny name, right? His name was, you'll never forget this name once it's there, his name was Norbert Wiener. So I was already in that mindset of thinking as well. The other thing as well was, as a kid, my mum always taught me to look out for other people. And she did, my mum taught me a lot of valuable lessons, and it was all about, she always tried to, when I was dealing with other people, she was always teaching me how to put my focus external and empathise with others. So I remember, like, see, as a kid, I'd be like in the back garden playing keepy up with the ball, or I'd be sitting listening to music with my headphones on. My mum would come and tap me and take me to the window. She'd point maybe to an old lady struggling with her bags to say, go and help her. Right? And she'd do things like she'd go and get shopping for pensioners. my job was, or like when my dad had the butcher shop, she was always a hand. So, and I think I've taken a bit of that from her as well, you know, and so that was nice. But anyway, so the offshore industry, it was pretty mental. It was, I mean, when I first went out there, it was still a bit Wild West.
When did you first start, Eddie? What kind of time was it? Just after Piper Alpha, you mentioned earlier.
So what had happened was I went offshore as a radio operator, and uh, I was like a comms tech, so I was an electronics guy, right? So what had happened was they had old means of communication out there, right? So what we're talking about is enough of it was analog, and at that time they never really had any laptops, right? So we were still like we were getting like fax pages and stuff like that still in offshore. And the main form of communication was satellite phones, and that was I used to be a lot. I used to be in the radio room at night because you could hear people using the sat phone and like people talking to their wives and all that, you know what I mean? And like some nights you just had to put the music on and you know what I mean? You're sometimes away for a month and you're hearing somebody having a conversation on the phone with a woman. You've not seen a woman for a month either. You're like, don't need that. Aye. So it was I can't even remember the date, but I remember seeing the first time I went offshore. First time I went offshore, right? I'd never ever flown before, right?
Okay.
Right.
Never commercially on an aeroplane or anything like that. You've never flown at all.
Never been in a plane.
Wow.
Right. So my first flight, right? I think it was a Sikorsky S61 or something like that. Can't mind. It was one of the old Rust buckets. And because we used to go to holiday in Saltcoats, right? So there was with this wee house, and it was a place called Glebe Street in Saltcoats, and it was like a room and kitchen, right? But when we went there, it was like my auntie would come with her man and their two wains. It was absolutely mental. So that was our holidays. And my other cousins, they were posher, right? They would get off the train further up the line than us in their drossing, bigger gaff. Aye, but I spent a lot of my childhood staring out at Aaron. So where were we? So I'm sure it was like get out there. That was the first time I'd ever flown. And the guy I was flying with, the guy I travelled up with, Alan, he was very sweet. He was a lovely guy, man. See a guy playing the guitar, absolutely. That's my wee sideline thing I do. I play. I'm absolutely crap, but that's what I do at night. I like to write wee poems and put tunes to them. That's how I like to pass my time and walk the dog. So, but first time flying, I remember I got in the helicopter. I couldn't believe how fast we were up in the air, and I was flying out to a rig. It was called at the time. It's still there. It's called the Thistle Alpha, but they called it the Black Pig. Like, and they used to say, you know, the pilots could follow the oil leak for Aberdeen to find it. They don't need radar and all that. And I remember we landed on this heli deck, and I'd never felt wind like that in my life. And it was so windy, right, that it was one man on, one man off. And they were using the passenger body weight, I think, to keep us on deck. And you had this rope, and you had to hold yourself on it. But I still went back. Because when you get out there, the banter's great. So if you can take a bit of banter, it's a great place to work. If you can't take it, don't go there. You'll have a breakdown, you know what I mean? But when you first go out there, older guys will sit with you and they'll be like, I'm an observer of people, you know, I just love human beings. I was sitting, I'd hear voice, a young boy on there, and they'd be like, a Friday night, like, you married, son? Like, so we'll make sure you phone after midnight, because she'll be sitting there at 9 o'clock with our party gear on, waiting for you to phone. As soon as you hang up, she's up and dancing, and she's cuddling somebody else tonight, and these boys will be getting up at 1 in the morning, all paranoid. No, they tell these young boys, you have to go to bed at night with your sleep, your survival suit on, in case they no sleep with your life jacket on and all that. The story, it was one story, one boy come on the rig. I wasn't there in the arm, so the story was they told him that he was going to get charged for all the food that he ate. They had to throw any money out with him. They did the trip to give him a bill. So it's fully all that, right? And obviously, it's the way people talk out there is you get guys from over Britain and it's just boom, 100 miles an hour. So I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that, and I did enjoy the work out there. But then when I got sucked into the safety thing, before I knew it, I was hanging about with all these behaviourists and stuff like that. So BP then started pushing me down that road. They started getting me involved with putting me on behavioural courses and all this stuff. And then they were getting me a lead off. They'd launched this thing for an ex-miner, a guy called Dr. Bruce Staley, and I was there for the initial launch of the advanced safety auditing. So we were going out and practicing it, and then coming back and giving feedback, and then we could practice that, and then come out and give feedback, and then we try to make a working model out of that. But the main thing we were dealing with is out there was obviously you had men, right? That it was mainly men, so I'm not being sexist here. In fact, there was 3 lasses that I knew that had worked offshore, right? One of them, she's absolutely cracking lassie. I still keep in touch with her now. Lynn Jolly, she was awesome, man. She was an electrician, right? And she could work like anybody. I totally loved that lassie to bits. You know what I mean? There was nothing she couldn't do. Her part, she comes from Huntley. Her part is absolutely brilliant. The other lassie I knew, her name was Anne Smith, and she was a brilliant. She was like a head driller. Oh, she was brilliant.
Quite an unusual job for a female as well, isn't it, head driller?
But I tell you what, she worked her way to that, and she had great respect, right? Yeah. Her banter was absolutely top. The other lassie, Lorraine was her name. I can't remind her second name. But she was like an admin assistant. She'd come out to do that because the safety people at that time were getting so much paperwork that they couldn't actually visit the job. So this was something that we started writing in reports, feeding back. The safety people are overloaded. Look, safety people never get into this. It's like when you look at policemen, right? It's like the average cop on the street is a brilliant, decent person, but if you look at the mechanism behind them, that's where usually all the problems are, right? And so the same thing was happening with these great safety guys out there that was all about, they wanted to get out there, they were ex-tradesmen, they wanted to mix with people, they wanted to pass advice and skills on, and the next thing, they had all these people, all this paperwork. So then we had to make a noise to get admin assistants out so we could put safety people back where they actually belonged. And what a difference that made.
And that's something that you've really focused on across your career, isn't it, Eddie? Cutting through the red tape and really trying to get the people, talking to the people that matter, getting your safety people out there, engaging with the frontline workforce. So it probably brings us up to talking about your career journey, where you've been through your career after that, kind of leading into where you are at the moment.
Right. So what I did was I'd started extensively studying stuff, and I knew I needed more knowledge, and I knew that what I was doing what I was doing, I would never last in a big machine forever. What I was doing was new, and it was going to have to be sort of put out there. So what I did was uh, the initial thing was I had started trying with doing, if you can imagine, rehearsal talks. Right? So what I would be doing was I would be picking a topic every month, right? And I was absolutely, I still don't like speaking in public with,
Yeah.
right? I
You
absolutely,
never fail. Absolutely never fail. I've seen you speak in full flow, Eddie, and you think, wow, I'd love to have that guy's confidence to stand up there and put that message across like that.
see, the last time I saw you over at Hampden, right? I was bulking in the car park, right?
Me on.
No, I'm not. Ask any of the lads. And I keep saying to the guys that work with us, look, once you stop losing that nervousness, you've lost the plot. I says the reason I feel like that is I'm fearcase of disappointing people and I don't deliver it right, right? Or I feel I'll get the message wrong and maybe somebody will have a negative consequence out of that. So that's where all the anxiety is based. It's all about trying to get it right. So so what had happened was I was doing these sort of trying to put topics together, and I was going up and I was giving myself rehearsals, right? So going up and talking in front of a group, and after each time I did it, now you've got to imagine here, right? I'm standing up in front of people for Glasgow, Newcastle, right? So everywhere they've built ships, Liverpool, right? Southampton, you name it, right? All right, hardy people, right? Um, but brilliant, brilliant. If they found a chink in your armour, right? It was like a worm. Once they get in, it would just itch you forever, right? And so what I was making sure what I was doing was when I was up there, I was reflecting back after each session, right? So I'd be going, right, how did that work? How did that go, right? And I started breaking it. I started trying to break it all down. So what I began to realise was I needed more knowledge, right? And what I had to understand deeper was how do people go through a thing called a process of change. Yeah? And I started looking everywhere for it, from back into the cybernetic model, which I still use a bit, but I was looking at everything. I was looking at behavioural psychology, right? Which I don't rate that much. I don't rate it that much. And if you want to get into that, I'll rip that apart for you. It has got its place. It does have its place, right? I looked at all the psychotherapy models as well and stuff like that. And then I did some training. Check them out on the internet, right? I did training with a guy called Tom Silver, right? Um, and he was working with, I think it was the Chinese police at the time, was uh, using change techniques and interrogation models and all that. So this guy's like, if you can imagine, he's a bit like a mix between Paul McKenna and Darren Brown.
Right, okay.
And he shows you all this like sneaky stuff and sneaky language. I think there's a video of me and him somewhere on YouTube, I think, right? Now he's a big, scary looking guy, right? But his knowledge is good. I don't agree with everything he does, but his knowledge is good. He uses a lot of fear, right, to make people follow his direction, right? But interesting to watch. So for me, I wasn't wanting to be him or do what he could do. I was just wanting to go like I was with a kid. He was my new toy, and I wanted to take it apart and figure out how it worked. So I spent a bit of time with him and another guy who was the dean of the American Psychological Society. I spent some time with him as well, and I used the same process. Don't agree with everything you're doing, but you're my new toy, and I'm going to pick it apart, and I'm going right. So that's basically what I do. That's basically what I do. And then eventually, I was desperate trying to find good people to train me. I did some training with, they were like Californian hippies. Okay, so, and then a guy in California, they were like hippies. His name was John Overduff, her name was Julie Silverthorne, and they became a little toy as well. What are they doing? I became fascinated with them. But for me, again, it was all about trying to pick things apart. How does this work? You know, how does that really happen? How can you do that to a person? What's going on, right? And oh man, I was reading out my ears. I mean, I'm into cycling as well, and I was looking out on the bike. Do you remember the old cassettes with it, right? And it was audio recordings of them, everything, trying to break it all down, right? And then I says, right, I've got a model for them now. And I've sort of finished that up where I went to, do you know where Stophill Hospital is in Glasgow? Yeah. So I spent 2 years just under 2 years in there. And that's when I started looking at, I was up there studying into the clinical side of therapy. And the one I chose was actually hypnotherapy, because the training up there, they took me in a brand new track, because they were looking at not just behavioural psychology as a sort of a model, but actually building a whole process, a whole change process behind that. So it just didn't become like a one hit. There was these events, right, and they taught you all that way. We did physiology, everything. We Harley Street psychotherapists coming up and teaching us and everything. We did all the classics, and then the final was it was continual assessments. It was like every 4 weeks we're putting in 5,000 word essays and all the classics, and we had to talk about where all the connections were, and the final exam, which I'm not really interested in, but I had to learn to do it, was the final exam was the application of something in your trance state, either for nervousness, pain. It was all medical stuff, you know, and so it would be you and an actor as a patient, somebody acting as a patient, and two doctors sitting watching you. And
that's phenomenal, Eddie. That's really interesting, and it seems like after that you started to really move towards joining both the clinical side of things and the health and safety side of things together and what you do.
So that's when I started. I knew early on, right, that with these great people I sat with every day in the tea hut. I mean, I'm talking like Blair. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm going to be straight with you, right? I mean, most people after the Piper Alpha, most people would have thought that most of these men would have thought the rig was the most dangerous place. For most of them, it was actually the flying through the thunderstorms and.
They used to say that in the offshore industry, didn't they? If you can get to the platform, you're safe. And even some of the guys who survived Piper Alpha thought they were safe on the platform because they'd made the flight out there.
And so there is a lot of anxiety involved going out there, and it's the same as well. Like, I mean, I was working in some of the big construction jobs in London as well, and the same there. The people there, even in some of the big jobs in Glasgow, you know, in rains, wind, hail or snow, these men and women are showing up every day and they're knocking at home for their families. And I did see, and I don't want to be critical, right? But just like police officers again, right? You get different types of police, and you get different types of safety people, and different types of managers. And what I started noticing early on, right, was people always say to me, like, how is it when you came? Like, some companies will give me their worst site. They'll say, right, this is my worst site. I want you to turn that around in 3 months, right? And when I turn that around, they say, what is it you've did? And all I really do is work with people kinder to each other, right? And I try to use some of these theories to actually say people aren't meaning to do this to themselves. And 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 they're not here for the company. You're framing everything wrong. So then I take them into what's called reframing, language shifting, and then this process of change and connect them together. But I think, see, if safety wasn't out there, Blair, I think just with the, the way my mum brought me up, I was going down this road anyway. If it wasn't
Yeah.
safety, it would have been something else. And human beings, for me, I love them. I absolutely, human beings. Sometimes, like, human beings bring me to tears, right? And not just tears of sadness, sometimes great tears of joy. They're wonderful. And if you can access them the right way, right? And trying to move away from this police enforcer, punisher, I've got a badge, I'm above you. You know, remember that old John, that was it the two Ronnies? I'm above, or was it John Cleese? I'm above him. And
Yeah.
it's a sort of idea. And that's what really I'm trying to break down. And so I'm really going in is I'm not doing anything wonderful, right? I'm just going in and introducing people to reframing language, a communication strategy, and then the process of change and the importance of keeping something up will eventually become normal. And that's no magic what I'm doing, right? The thing about the training side there on the floor, that's a different side there. You know, I mean, that's just a bit of front end. There's a lot other things that we work on in the background. But the training side there, the key to that, right, is you've got to get it into your head. The key to it is it's not just training; it's got to be entertaining training, right? And people have got to find themselves within it. I guarantee you, when you've been at some of our sessions, you go, "Shit, I do that. Oh, that's me as well." Right? And this is what's called association, right? And if you look at the process of change, if you want somebody to go through a change, right, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to substitute them into your story, right?
Yeah.
You've got to place themselves into that story. So when I say like things like, you know, when you're driving along the road in your car, you're in your car, right? So that's substitution, right? And then what I'm doing is I've got you in the car, right? I'm building a bridge. And when I've got you nodding, I do a thing called transference. So I give you a simile. So I then take you in. And it's just a bit like, you know, when you're hammering a nail around. And I'm always bridging the stories together. And it sort of takes the audience on a wee journey. And it's a change for them for somebody up the front going, you're doing this for the business. Here's all the facts. You know, it's just going, look, here's another angle. And for me, it's always been about communities, togetherness. That's what my message is all about. And I'm glad, you know what, a lot of safety people, and I'm very thankful to see a lot of people in IOSH with the West of Scotland branch. Because when I first started doing this stuff, you were there, you guys were right at the beginning with me, right? And when I first threw it on the table, I took it off the rigs and I went and says, I'm going to take this off of here and put it on the table on shore. And when I've done that, the West of Scotland branch at IOSH, I was going to other places where, and they were all going like that to me. You're off your nuts, son. You're trying to run a business here. But when I came into that branch, they were like, that's different. And it was actually the West of Scotland branch at IOSH. Look, I've just so many people. See, every time, that's how every year I go to Hampton for free. Oh,
Yeah. And the
oh,
branch really appreciate it as well, Eddie. They really do.
see,
The
George.
events that you run for them are fantastic.
George is, man, I just wish I could make a hundred of him. He's just such a fair guy. I feel a lot for George. I do. He's a lovely person. And you guys, you did. I've got a lot to be grateful for. And,
So that's really interesting, Eddie. Can you now talk us through a wee bit more about what you do at Karrdale, what services you offer, how you really put that message out there and where you've worked in the past and where you're working in the future.
Well, some of the clients we work with, it's a bit like, if you get some private therapy work done, some places we work for don't like us talking about it. So we do have contractual agreements where there's no conversation. But the other thing is a business, what you'll notice about us is we don't advertise, right?
All through word of mouth, isn't it?
And we're trying to get people that are serious to come and find us rather than go and play at this. And I mean, we got a call, it was about 4 or 5 months ago it was, and it was a contract company that worked for one of our larger clients, and I'm always straight, right? And I says, look, I just want to be straight with you. Look, we are really serious about what we do. We're so into the human being side of thing and development side. So if you're calling me up to say you're doing this so you can retain a contract, I'm not going to do it with you, right? And if you've got, and I say, so we're not going to work with you if you're going to go for this. And eventually they persuaded us, and we took the leap. But we don't work with everybody. Sometimes we have to go to meetings. We don't like taking money off of people. I mean, I always say to our guys, even the guys who are doing, the first sit down, I'm saying, look, if these people aren't ready for this, you have to let them know. So sometimes our guys will sit with you and just say, look, you need a safety professional in before we could go any further. Or so, and that happens quite frequently. Where we have to say to people, it's not that we're not saying we're too far out there for you. We're not saying that. We're not saying like you're not ready for us, but you need certain building blocks before it's effective, and that's what I'm really trying to say here. So I'm not being big-headed, and so we are not. It's as if you can imagine like a safety was a cake, right? And so we're just a wee bit. A wee thin layer on top, but everything else is your systems, your safety people, your management structure. So what we're doing is a wee thin layer that can maybe just add that wee extra bit. So it's not the services we offer is all sorts. I mean, I've sometimes it's sales teams that want to know how it works, but I'm very careful with who I work with sales wise. A while back, a few years ago, I did get asked to go over to a place in Spain and train some salespeople for approaching people in the streets, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So we do that. We do strategy work with people. We make a lot of videos for companies as well. All we really want to go in and is just be a good, decent assistant to people that are really serious about getting people up the road, and that's not just the sort of a physical side there. The physical side is usually an overspill of a mental breakdown earlier on, or a bad relationship or something going on between teams or communication. So we're not just trying to look at the physical side of that for people, we're also, sometimes I get the managers. I've not had to do it for a while, but the way they approach a team member, and sometimes when I walk away with a manager, I have to say to them, look, see when you're with me, look, ever speak to anybody like that when I'm standing beside you, because they think I'm just like you, and I'm not.
Yeah, totally.
And
I get where you're coming from on that one.
Then I say, so let's go over and try that again with somebody else, right? And so there is a lot of people out there, and I can understand they're under a lot of pressure, and sometimes they've not got time to stand there for like half an hour, like maybe I have, but still, sometimes, like snapping fingers and all that, and some of the body language and voice tone it's used, it's just not there. And the other thing is what a lot of managers don't realise is human beings, we're reciprocal. So this is why we're fascinated with justice. And what I mean by reciprocal, reciprocity, payback. So this is why we've got a justice system, because people love payback. We had to invent that, or people were just killing everybody. But the same thing is, there's paybacks everywhere. And as a leader, you have to realise that. And so, for instance, what I mean by reciprocity is, I'm sure you've done it. You're walking down the street with your partner and you'll say, I wish they'd stop buying me a Christmas present so we can stop buying theirs. Because when somebody gives you, you are obliged to give back. It's a psychological process, right? And if you want to read more about this, it's called the reciprocity, they call it. So whether if I'm nice to you, you'll be compelled to pay that back to me, right? And if I'm shit to you, you'll be compelled to shit back. And the sort of a way I explained that to you is, remember during the presentation, talked about the scales of justice in the head.
Yeah.
The manager approaches somebody, says something rude to them, knocks the person off. So this scale is the outside world, this scale is your internal world. So the manager comes up, shouts at you, knocks you off a balance. So you've got to pay that back. So you'll start saying to yourself, right, I'm going to be awkward at all the meetings. Then you maybe turn around and say, and I'm going to make his life hell, and I'm going to work slower for the next 4 months. And once you get that evenness back, justice has been served. And this is what you'll find a lot of managers don't realise is sometimes with that approach, they can be getting paid back 3 months later for that. They don't know why, because sometimes people sit in their payback. Some like it, some like their payback slow and painful.
Yeah, it goes back to that old the best dish is a best dish served cold.
And
Revenge, yeah, it's the best dish served cold.
even if you look at reciprocity, people are using it on you everywhere, right? For instance, like watch next time you get into a restaurant, right? Why did they bring you a sweetie? Right? And what they found in a study, check it out, Stanford University, right? If you're sitting having a meal with your missus, right, and at the end of the meal they just come and give you the bill, right, average tip. They'll give you a sweetie, it goes up, right? Watch this. This makes it go through the roof, the tip. If I come out to the table, and it's all payback, reciprocity, if I come out to the table and I put a sweetie down for you and your wife, right? And then I turn to walk away. But just as I go to step away, I turn back and I come to the table and I say this, do you know what? Used to have been my favourite customers tonight. You can have an extra sweetie each. The tip goes through the roof. And what you're doing is I'm selling you penny sweeties for £5 tips, right? So reciprocity is everywhere. And if you can understand that, then if you want positive payback in the future, you have to take the time to inject it in the now. And this is what's missing just now. A lot of people stressed out them up there. They're running in very low margins, very tight projects. Everything's about the shareholder. And that has to change. That has to change.
You mentioned in a conversation that we had a couple of days ago, Eddie, about we've done the safety triangle, we now need to look at the safety circle. Can you tell us a bit of detail on that?
Right, so well, if you look at any social structure, if you go back in time, there's always this triangular, like even for kings and queens, you go kings. Well, what they used to say was it was the medicine men like that were above the kings. A bit like now, where the scientists are telling the politicians what to do. So the medicine men are above the kings, but it always came down in this sort of a triangle shape. So what happened? And I'm not saying this is my philosophy and the path that I follow, but in 1972 there was a guy called Lord Robbins. He wrote a thing called the Robbins Report, and what that was about was it was about apathy in the workplace towards health and safety, and how most of the responsibility was getting put onto the government. So this was the doorway for the Health and Safety Work Act. Now, this had to be introduced because all over the country there was all sorts of things happening. And then we went through, you remember, the decades of disaster. So what we had problems in oil. We had oil rigs blowing up. We had train stations going in fire. We had the coal mines collapse. We had all sorts going on. And so the government knew that culturally there was a problem across the country. So the Health and Safety at Work Act had to cover these many industries. The only thing, though, is when you take that approach, a cultural approach, you have to follow the hierarchical model, right, where it's all about rules and regulations and punishment. And that's really, and that was the thing that got me. See, the safety professionals, he's kept saying to me, can you design something for me that to do with behavioural safety? I says, you've already got it. It's called the Health and Safety at Work Act, right? So if somebody behaves a certain way, there's a consequence, right? The only bit it's missing is what happens when somebody's brilliant. That's their job, isn't it? Right? So there we go. So making mistakes. So it sort of all get put on the negative end. So to do that across the country, they had to do that culturally, right? But what you had in the workplaces a lot of the times was you already had pretty strong knit communities at the times, because you had brothers, sisters, and there was a lot of community working going on. You know, or all my family, they all either work in that factory, or somebody else's family would all work in that factory. So there was that good community spirit there. But for the cultural model we work, that had to go. But now it's ready to return, because they now know that that is the final hurdle to getting people all in and getting to that magic zero. And it's about doing it for each other now, and not for businesses, not for shareholders, right? And it's all about giving people, and this is, I mean, one of my clients, I don't want to mention them, right? But they just made a complete deadline for the people on it. It's brilliant now. And their statement is, if it's not safe, we're not doing it. And that is a great community statement, that if it's not safe. But when I talk to the workers, especially in Scotland, they're going to frame it in their language, and it's more like, see, if it's not safe, it's not happening. That doesn't happen here, right? But the trouble is we've still got a lot of this cultural baggage, and all these people that are policemen, enforcers, punishers, are so indoctrinated in that. It'll take time, Blair, for that transition to be made. But I'll tell you what, I do a lot of seminars for a lot of safety people, and I've got a lot of respect. There's a lot of great people coming through, and believe me, the revolution is closer. It's closer.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's great, Eddie. If we just move on now, what advice or guidance would you give to someone starting out in health and safety today? I probably know where you're going to go with this one, because we just spoke about it a little bit. Getting away from the enforcer and moving towards more of a community-based approach.
The way I'm trying to get the safety people I'm working with to look at this now, look, rules are important, right? So if as a human being, right, if you look at emotions and you draw a line, right, at one stage you've got love, and the other side you've got fear, right? Now with fear and love, right, with both of these you can be your most irrational states. Right, so I mean, you can love somebody, but you have to read with them, right? And everybody can be telling you you're so in love and you're blinded with love and stuff like that. And what is every other emotion we've got actually fits somewhere along that scale, right? What I would be suggesting to anybody who's coming forward as a safety person, right, is you can't go out there and be positive all the time. The world isn't like that, right? And there is a lot of people out there trying to train you the world of positivity. But here's the thing: see, if you're overly positive and you don't quite make it, you can't sustain it, you start feeling like a failure. And most people can't sustain positivity all the time. Try it, book it into your diary, and I guarantee you, after an hour, somebody or something will be pissing you off, right? So you have to realise, what I'd say to anybody, is this scale between love and fear. Now, if you are consistently caught or catching people in the fear scale all the time, you're stuck there, then that's not good for you or them or the relationship or the environment or people's anxiety levels or people's well-being. But sometimes fear is needed. Sometimes you do need consequences, because sometimes if I was late for work, I might do that extra 20 mile an hour if there wasn't a consequence there. So yes, the consequences are important, but it's how you communicate that and making sure you don't get stuck totally in fear and totally in love. You have to, as a person, let yourself glide through that to meet the situation. And that way, I think, as you move on in life, you know, it's, it's not just better for yourself, but it's going to be better for the community that you're trying, a safe working community if that's what you're trying to create. But also as well, once you create that, then mood is transferable, then people start taking that home. And then when people start enjoying their work life, they start enjoying the work life, the home life. And people that enjoy their home life make better partners and better mums and better dads. And then the next society growing up actually grows with the skills. So my message to anybody that's starting out in safety, yes, the rules are important. You have to realise here that you're dealing with human beings, things of emotion, right? And we can't have them, that negative emotion being substituted into them in the workplace and destroying them and then transferred it to the family. So my message would be, look, when you're going out there, yeah, right, you will be seen as a policeman, but there's two types of police. Make sure you're the good type.
Sure, sure. Thanks for that, Eddie. Now, I'm going to ask you another question here, and this is normally the one that people find tough. You've had many challenges across your career. What's been the biggest single challenge you've been faced with in your career?
Hmm. I was on a drilling job, right? I don't want to tell you who for or whereabouts it was. There was on this job, everybody else was contractors, right? And on drilling jobs, you get what's called the company men, right? So I was the company man, right? And the other guy that was the company man, I'm flying under his wing, right? And this guy, he's like, if you can imagine a mouse, right? He only sees the cheese, he can't see the trap. That sort of a person. So it's just he just sees the goal, right? So obviously you're into people as well. So you know when you're collaborating with people, the first thing you've got to work out is who you're playing with, right? So I sat with him for a couple of hours and just asking questions, and I realised he was this type of person. Um, and what had happened was, we pulled this a, a drill rig up beside this platform. We were going to drill a new putting a Packard unit in one of the wells. And so anyway, one of the cranes goes down, right? So this platform's got two cranes like this, and we've got this other rig with a single crane on it. We needed that piece of equipment at the far crane, right? But the middle crane was broke,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, if this job get delayed overnight, it was millions and millions and millions of pounds. Okay? And so on the paperwork, right, when you're the company man, right, on the permit system, you either come under the area authority or one of the area authorities, or you can come under as the affected party. So it needs my signature and his signature before the work's permitted, right? He did a job plan for it, right? And this was his job. Now, this was a long time ago, right? So the job plan was this: he created, he was going to get this crane here, right? We were going to run the wire, right, across the deck. This was going to, this crane was going to lift the equipment on we were needed, and then they were going to put scaffold poles underneath the containers and drag them across the deck. And so one guy did it to grab the pole, right? And I'd just been on like a subsea production course, and so I'm envisaging in my head all these like wells below us that are live, and if containers start falling out the side, and then I'm thinking, what and I'm thinking about people's fingers and all sorts of. So I refused to sign it, right? And there was a permit meeting that night, and oh, it was it was a young guy, and I've got saliva in my face. Guy screaming, "I've been doing this for so many years," and I had to say, "Look, I'm sorry about that, but I don't want to be phoning anybody's family up, and saying, look, we thought it was all right because Tam had 30 years behind him." Right? I said, so that's not going to happen. We'll come up with another plan and we'll do it. But that was the first time, right? And I'm not a religious person, right? But I was worried that night. See why? And they came to my room and woke me up in the middle of the night trying to get me to sign it. That's how much money it was costing. And that was the first time that I'd ever knelt at the side of a bed and I was actually praying for the night shift crew in case they sneakily done it when I was sleeping. And I was praying, please. I'm not even into God. I was just so scared. And I was, please, God, please make everybody okay. The next morning, the asset manager's on the phone, and this guy started shouting his mouth off, trying to get me sacked. And the asset manager just turned around and says, that's why I put Eddie out there, because I knew he would stop stuff like that. He says, well done, Woodsy, good job. And that was the first, and the guy did that, and I still remember, he's a great asset manager. And to get that support, instantly caused a change on that job. And we ran that whole job. First drilling job, totally instant free, but because the men knew we were there for them. And that was probably the most horrifying. I felt very threatened.
It can be really difficult being in that situation that you're the one that needs to make the call and say, no, we're not doing this. The consequences outweigh the risk. Or the reward, sorry. The consequences outweigh the reward.
But that stuck with me, that story. And then I actually got another drilling job off the back of that. They asked me, "Says why to come back and start," and I was like, "Give me the same guys, and we'll do it again." Aye.
So that's really good, Eddie. I've done a lot in the past with you. We've worked together over a few companies now. How do people get in touch with you if they want to get involved and get Karrdale in to have a look at what they're doing and work with yourself?
Well, initially, what I would say to anybody, if you go onto the website, it's just Karrdale.com. We've got a section in there before you phone us up. There's free videos on the site, and you can go there, and some of them you could use them for like a small training session and toolbox talk. What we usually suggest to people is, look, before you get us in, look at the videos, show your people them, and make sure your people are actually wanting to work with us. Because if they don't, you're going to waste your money, and that money could be getting used, for other things, for the staff. So what I would suggest is if anybody wants to get in touch, just jump on the website, have a look at the videos. If you like them and you want to talk to us, drop us a line and or give us a call and we'll have a meet. That's how we usually do it. Sometimes calls come through and we always say, go look at the videos first, make sure, because it does as well. And with some clients as well, we're starting to do this stuff over the internet with them too. And we're starting to do quite a wee bit of video production work for people as well. So
it's very important in the current climate, isn't it, with COVID-19 rumbling on in the background and people still being at home, working from home a lot, to be able to carry out these kind of online meetings and be able to support their clients that way.
I know, but it's a difficult time. I do feel for anybody just now, even with having to go to work just now. It must be very, very worrying for people thinking, well, if somebody in here's got it, can I take it? So the amount of anxiety that must be out there is unbelievable. So I'm at home myself just now, so I've not really been out doing any work. So I've not felt that type of tension. But I mean, everybody that's going to work now for me is a hero. They're all shouting just about the NHS, but you've got to think about these people that are keeping all the lights on. You know, without them, the hospitals would be shut down. Then you've got to think about the oil workers supplying the power stations with the gas. And so there is a lot of people out there that's not getting a shout, that are actually, without them, the NHS wouldn't be able to function, but they're showing up every day, you know, and I know they'll have that fear. And even, you know, as a citizen, I'm totally grateful for what they're doing. So, but I'm not feeling that anxiety. I'm actually at home. So, but I feel for the people.
Okay, Eddie, thanks very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And on behalf of the Irish West of Scotland branch and on behalf of myself, thanks very much for giving up your time and getting involved.
Okay, and again, I'll IOSH West Scotland branch everything. So anything you guys are doing, I'll always be there because you're always there for me, and I'm forever grateful.